thanks for joining me. Today I'm going to share with you my very favorite cheesecake recipe. I came across this one, and although I thought I had the best cheesecake recipe ever, this one blew it out of the water. So I hope you'll agree with me and give it a try. If you have one that's your absolute favorite, you think one can't beat it, try this one. It's so good. One of the things that makes it so good is that I'm using a homemade ricotta, and we showed you that in another video. This just gives it a super rich character that just is unbeatable. I hope you'll give that a try on its own as well as in this cheesecake recipe. So let's get started with the crust. This is a really special crust. We're going to use lady fingers instead of graham crackers. So I just use a whole package, which is 24 lady fingers, and you're just going to throw them right in your food processor. Okay, and then you're going to use a 1/4 cup of melted butter and just pour that right on top of it. And then you're just going to pulse it in your food processor until it makes a nice little crust. Just pulsing it. Okay, that looks pretty good. So this is the texture that we ended up with. Okay, so let me talk to you about the cheesecake pan that we're going to be using. This is actually called a cheesecake pan. It's not a springform pan. It has a much more durable metal that's in it, just like our cake pans that we love. It is 3 inches high, so you can get a nice deep cheesecake in this. And what I really like about this is it has a removable bottom. So it's a lot more easy to get your cheesecake out than the springform pan. And it just really gives you a nice even bake. Okay, so what I'm going to do, one thing is, like, if you're going to go give away cheesecakes to friends or family, that sort of thing, or clients, you're not going to ask them for your bottom back, okay? But it's hard to transfer that cheesecake onto another board without it falling apart. So if you will just get a non-coated board, this doesn't have a wax on it, it doesn't have a film on it, it's just a non-coated board, you can just drop it down on the bottom of your pan and it's ready to go. You can bake right on top of that. I promise it's going to be great. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I don't need to treat my pan at all with any oil or flour or anything like that. I'm just going to dump all of my crumbs in there. Okay, get every little bit out because it's super yummy. And then I'm just going to kind of distribute it around. Make sure you have clean hands. Sometimes people like to use gloves, and that's fine. Just make sure that you're not giving yourself a false sense of security. Sometimes people will go around and touch things like money or drawers or scratch their head, that sort of thing. But if they have gloves on, they think it's safe. So just make sure that you clean your hands right before you do this, and you are absolutely good and sanitary. Okay, so I'm just kind of spreading this out evenly, and now I'm going to start to press down. You want it nice and compact. And you'll notice I didn't add sugar when I did the lady fingers because they are already sweetened, okay? So this is a super easy crust to do. So this is compact but not super tight. I'm not going to pre-bake this. I'm just going to go ahead and mix all of my cheesecake ingredients and pour it right on top of it, and it's ready to go. Okay, so for the ingredients of the cheesecake recipe, you can find those on the Sweetwise website. Just go to the recipes right at the top and scroll down, and you can click on it, and then that way you can print it out for yourself. So I have 24 ounces of cream cheese. That's softened, come to room temperature. Just dump that right in. Okay, and I've got a cup of my homemade ricotta cheese, and again, you can find that recipe on our website and the video on that as well. Just going to put that right in. Now, one thing I like to do, cheesecakes can be a little bit sensitive as far as when they start to get moist, these heavier ingredients can leave little clumps. So I kind of like to give this a little bit of a spin before I start adding more liquid ingredients, just to make sure that it's nice and homogeneous. So I'm going to combine those and then pull my speed up a little bit to make sure it's nice and smooth. Okay, so I let that go about a half a minute or so. Now I'm going to add 2 cups of sour cream. And that's just a 16-ounce container, just for easy math if you're at the grocery store. Just all of that in there. And then I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to give this a little bit of a spin so that everything starts to get homogenized. So that's starting to get nice and smooth. But just because that sour cream is softer than the other 2 ingredients that I added first, I'm going to go ahead and scrape my bowl down a little bit here and then give it another spin for about another 20 or 30 seconds. Just to make sure it's nice and smooth. Don't want lumps in that cheesecake later. All right, here we go. So now we're going to add some more fun stuff. I've got 1 cup of sugar, just granulated white sugar, and you can add all these ingredients at once. I've got a 1.5 tablespoons of pure vanilla extract, a tablespoon of fresh lemon juice, I'm gonna go ahead and add these together, mix these together, and then I'll finish off with my eggs. Just start on low, let that combine. Here's another place where you'll want to go ahead and scrape the bottom. If you'll just do that a couple of times throughout the mixing and addition times, then you're going to have a much smoother end product. Okay, so just scraping the bottom again, and maybe another 15 seconds of mixing here. Okay, now I'm ready to add my last ingredient, and that is my eggs. 3 eggs, whole eggs, and I'm just going to let it go on low as I add each one in. So that's starting to look mostly smooth, but again, because I just added another fairly liquid ingredient, I'm going to scrape one more time, and then I'm going to mix again for about 15 to 30 seconds just to get it much more smooth, nice and mixed in there, so that when you cut through each slice, everyone feels the same and tastes the same texture. Okay, so we'll stop there. It's not 100% smooth, but at home you can let it go maybe another half a minute or so just to get that nice smooth texture. Don't knock yourself out. If there's a little bit of texture in there, it's not a big deal. It'll bake out. You just want to get the majority of it, a nice homogeneous mixture. So I'm just scraping all this incredible goodness off of my beater here because I don't want to miss any of it. Super good recipe. Okay, so I'm just gonna one more time kind of scrape all of this so it comes out nicely. Okay. Now, this pours right on top of our crust. Again, I didn't do anything to pan, I didn't oil it, I didn't put flour spray, anything like that. Just scraping all of this into the pan. And then I'm just gonna kind of spread it out so that it has a nice flatness to it. Look, this is 3 inches tall, and look how much this fills up the pan. It's beautiful, 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 nice tall cheesecake. There's nothing I hate more than a short cheesecake. Okay, so let me show you how to get this into the pan and get it into the oven. So what I've got here, I'll just move my bowls here to the side, all right? What I've got here is a regular cake pan. This is just a 2-inch deep, it's 18 inches, I believe. This is just layers of foil. So what you want to do is you want to make sure water doesn't seep into this. We're going to put this in a nice little water bath so it stays nice and uniform in temperature. It has a nice smooth baking process. So I'm going to lay my foil down. You put 3 or 4 layers down as you start this, and then you just kind of try to get it at least 3 inches tall. You just kind of start making a thicker robe for it, if you will. We'll do it one more time. I already got it started here for you. So again, just kind of cupping over, and you can do this around the pan to start with, to start the shape and the size if you want to. I just got a head start on it, so you don't have to sit here and watch me play with aluminum foil. Okay, so what I'm going to do, this pan is empty, but it's eventually going to be my water bath. All right, so I'll put that in there, and I'm going to put my cheesecake right in the middle of it, and then I'm going to let it hug, really push that around there nice and tight, and you're kind of sealing off any little places that the water can seep into that bottom. Okay, now what I would do at this point is I'm going to put this whole pan into the oven and leave the door open. I'm going to grab my water. This is just plain tap water. So let's pretend this is in the oven, and then you're just going to go ahead and pour the water around it. And it needs to come up about 1/3 of the way of the height of the pan. So it's going to be about 1 inch deep. Okay? And you just want to make sure no water splashes into the cheesecake. So now this is all filled up, it's sitting in the oven. If you printed off the recipe from our website, you saw that your oven was set to 250 degrees. And I know that's a lot lower than you're used to seeing, but really it bakes beautifully. It's going to go about 3 hours. That seems to be the regular time for my oven, maybe up to 4 if yours isn't working as well, maybe if it's not calibrated right. But I'm really not looking for any kind of brown. It's not going to get to golden brown on the top of the cheesecake. What we're looking for is just a uniformity to it, to where it's not liquid in the center. So I've got one finished already for you. Let me pull that out and we'll show you what it's going to look like at the end. Okay, so this is the cheesecake. You see the color of it after it had come out of the oven. As soon as it came out of the oven, I took a sharp knife and just kind of ran it around the edge just to kind of loosen it from the sides. And then I put it in the refrigerator for just a couple of hours. Now, a lot of people like to serve their cheesecake cold, but I personally like for it to sit out for about an hour before I serve it, just because the flavor seems so much more creamy. All right, so this is how easy it is to get this cake out of the pan. So I'm just gonna pop this out. I just put my hand underneath it and just kind of push up from the bottom. Remove this, and you can tell it's still on that metal bottom, obviously, but if you'll remember, I put a cake board under there, a non-coated cake board, so now it's going to be easy to slide off and put onto my serving platter or put into a box to give away. I don't have to worry about getting that metal bottom back. So all I'm going to do is slide my spatula right underneath the cake board, between the metal plate, and I'm just going to move it straight onto my cake board with the cake that I actually baked on as well. And obviously I don't need to worry about getting that back. Now, nice enough cheesecake, I want to finish it off with a little bit of decoration. You can either do like a strawberry sauce, a caramel sauce, a chocolate sauce, something like that. My personal favorite is a whole cherry sauce. It's something my grandmother always made for Christmas. And I know she's getting up there in years and we won't have her around us much longer. So I want to go ahead and give her a nod, give a little bit of whipped cream on the edge here. Just a little bit of a swirl with a large tip. And this is going to kind of act as a dam. It's nice and pretty. You can do a fresh whipped cream, a heavy whipped cream with a little bit of vanilla and a little bit of powdered sugar in there. Or you can, if you're not up to that, you can just grab a can of pre-whipped whipped cream in the can. That's fine. As long as it's real cream, it's going to be good. All right, so I have my whole cherry filling here. And this is something you can get at Sweetwise. It's super delicious, and I love that there's whole cherries in here. So now that I have my whipped cream border on there, all I need to do is put this on here, and I'll just put a big blob in the middle. Okay, and then you take your spatula and just spread that out to the edges a little bit. All the way to whipped cream, so it's really pretty. If you want to, you can do another little rosette of whipped cream in the center. I'm going to leave it just like that because that's how Grandma did it. I hope you're going to try this cheesecake recipe. It's super easy with the homemade ricotta. It's just a beautiful, beautiful flavor, and I really think you're going to love it. Thanks for watching.